or having some fun. If you can follow along, lovely. If you can't, just watch. First things first, you have to be able to open and close jump rings. So I use jump rings either from Hyperlink or the Ring Lord. They're both manufacturers here in Canada. Okay, and in the GTA even. So we hold our pliers in our dominant hand horizontally, our non-dominant hand vertically. And you have the opening at the top, and this hand is the only one that moves, and you just, like a motorcycle, rubbing. And you're going to just, you can hear it click. That means they're pushed right together. And then you feel and make sure there's no opening. If you can slip your thumbnail or fingernail in through that, it's not closed enough. Okay, so let's get started on our first thing. We're going to do the Mobius rose first. So you'll need your large jump rings. And you're going to close one. This one's already closed. I'd already done it. All right, so close one. Open your next one, and I'm just going to use different colors for each ring so that you can see the difference. Put your closed ring on the open one. Just let it dangle like that and close it. Now with the larger rings, they have more of a tendency to warp as you're trying to open and close them. Just try and be careful that you're not putting too much pressure on it. There we go. Now open a third jump ring, large jump ring. Okay, just like so. Now watch this. I have my two. I'm going to bring them up so they're like one. Okay, they're not dangling down. They're right together, like so. And I'm going to put them on my jump ring that's open. So they hang as if they're just hanging from it. Okay, they're not hanging down like this. 1, 2, 3. They're hanging together on that jump ring, and close that jump ring. Whoop. Using a little more pressure than I need. I've been doing heavier wire recently. Funny when you go from one metal to the next, your hands, your muscle memory just remembers how hard you have to twist, and so you can mess up. All right, now I'm going to show you. I'm going to drop it on my table top here. I'm going to pick you up, just relax, and you can see how it's formed a little rose. Okay, if I dropped it and it was like this, all I'm going to do is just flip those rings over and over until it forms the rose. Generally, when you drop it on a hard surface, it forms pretty quick. There it goes. Okay, open another large jump ring. And we're just going to keep repeating this. Now, the trick that I find is I put my finger on it, and you can see it on the bottom there. So my finger is covering the hole, the circle hole. I bring it to the edge and pick it up between my thumb and finger and slide it on. And again, they're not dropping down. They're all on the same ring. And we close that one. Make sure it's nicely closed. And I just like to drop them each time. It fell perfectly that time. So I'm going to open another jump ring, large jump ring. I generally do 7. I try and do a rainbow color, but I was out of dark blue. So pick it up and put it on that one ring and close it. Now I will do this twice. I'll make 2 roses just so that if I'm going too fast, which I know I am, sorry, you'll be able to catch up in time. So this is what it looks like right now. Pretty little rose. You could leave it at that, but I'm going to add the next 2. Okay. Sorry, I hope nobody gets dizzy while I move the camera like that. All right. Open your next to last one. And again, put your finger over that hole and slide it to the edge. And just slide that through the center. If when I was doing it, I stumbled and messed it up, drop it again. Goes right back to the rose pattern and slide it back on. It's pretty no fail. Even if you get one out of place, it's still a pretty looking bracelet. So don't stress yourself out. A little bit different there. There we go. Drop it, and this time it just didn't go anywhere. There we are. My last large ring, and then I will move this so I can get out another set of the large rings. Okay, slide it to the edge and put it on there. You see, it's just perfectly formed. You don't have to worry too much. Close this one up. A little bit more. There we go. And drop it again. Now, I don't know if I listed them on the supplies, but I have two that are sort of in between size. I'm going to try them. I just grabbed them out of my bin. I don't even know what size they are. Pick it up, put it on here. Make sure you've gotten through all the links. If it's a little bit too small, use one of your big links. Don't worry, it won't matter much. So I've got it linked. Get a good shot of that. So it's holding the whole rose together. And then I'm going to take my other one of that size. You want two this size, the larger, sort of the medium size. And I'm going to put it through the rose again. This locks that rose in place. It's not moving after this. You don't have to worry about messing it up. All right. So there we are. So this holds our rose, top and bottom, and that's where our bracelet chain comes from, both sides. Okay. So, sorry? Somebody wanted to say something, but that's okay.
I said, wow.
Oh, it's so pretty, and it's such a... Okay, so I'm going to use all of one color just because I feel like it right now. And it doesn't really matter once you know how to do it. So I'll do one more. And I also need the two medium ones. Give me 1 second. It's in one of these boxes. There we are. I have them all labeled and stored in my studio. And these are, if I can read the tag today, 732, 18 gauge. I generally use 18 gauge. I will really emphasize if I'm using something other than an 18 gauge ring, because that's my go-to. There are a couple of weaves where I have to use a 20 gauge, but not very many. And then one where I use 16 gauge, so it's actually heavier. All right, so close your ring. And again, you have your one hand horizontal, your other hand vertical. Open a second ring and drop it on, okay? It's like magic rings. We're just gonna make them all look like one. Even I slip with my pliers every once in a while, guys. Drop it. You don't really have to drop it when it's only two, but I get in the habit of dropping it. Bring it so it's between your finger and thumb. Put it on. Now with the single color, I might be able to show you how they actually go this way over each other, over and under at the top, and they all go the same way. So let me just drop this and get it lined up. And then maybe I can show you. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up well enough, but if you fan them a little bit, you can see they're all going. Now it doesn't show it. Yeah, it's just confusing if I try and show you that on the camera. some things don't show up that well. When we're in person, I will show you. All right, open your fourth ring. Bring your 3 rings over to the edge with your thumb and finger and drop them on your fourth ring. You can do 3 rings. You can do 7 like I do. You can try for 10 or 12, depending on the thickness of your wire, your rings. You could get them. It's called a Mobius knot at that point, but okay, and I'm just flipping them. Oh, these 3 want to be together, but we're going to take them apart. But yes, you can make a Mobius knot where it's just like a ball almost by the time you're finished. Slide it to the edge with your finger and thumb. Put it on your next ring. I don't trust my eyes when it comes to jump rings. I always feel them to make sure they're closed properly. They get so tiny that I don't want to trust that it's closed. I want to know. Okay, open your 5th or 6th ring. Pull it to the side with your finger and thumb and flip it on the ring. Close this one. Drop. Usually when you drop it, it'll go in this right position or one off. So you'll see it once you flip one. If it doesn't look right, flip one and you'll see it right away. Right, slide it over and put it on. Now the 2x2 rings, the bracelet part, we may or may not finish the whole thing today, but it's just a simple 2x1 actually. All right, so I'm going to take my medium ring again, open it wide, like I want it open quite wide. Normally I get you to open them a little bit, just enough for the ring to slip on, but we're putting a whole bundle of rings on that one, so we want it wide open, almost we call it fish hooking when you open it that wide. We as in chainmailers. Okay, I'm just trying to get it in place. Now I don't want to just drop this. I want to lay it down gently because I'm still locking it in place with the second jump ring. So pull it to the side again, put them all on, and close it. I think this ring worked a little bit on me. Let me see if I can get it closed. Okay. Elbows at my side for more control. Hold on. Just like with taking photos, put your elbows at your side and you have more control over what you're doing. Okay, so that one's done as well. Now on this one, I probably wouldn't have used the silver one just because it's a darker one, but we're making the bracelet silver anyway. All right, so our bracelet. You're going to measure your wrist. Take out 1 inch from that, making you do math, and divide it by 2. So my wrist is, let's say, a simple 8-inch. I want 7 inches, so I want 3.5 inches of this chain on either side of this. Once you've added in this piece and the lobster clasp, it makes up the extra inch. All right, so let's go. We're going to open a ring here and slide it on our silver one. Okay, just like so, and close it. Okay, we're going to do the same on the other side just to get it out of the way. And then we're going to work on one side only for a little bit. So if you have your measuring tape, make sure that you're doing your chain from this point forward 3.5 inches or whatever your measurement turned out to be. Try 3 inches on either side and check to see how close it is to what you need. Okay, so all I've done is put one more ring from the one that went through the Mobius rose. Okay, so I have the Mobius rose the medium ring, and 2 small rings. Now, I'm going to hold it like this. On this ring here, let me get it up. On the last ring here, we're going to double that. So on the ring that goes through the Mobius one, it's going to go through the Mobius holder, and it's going to have 2 rings hanging straight down from it. Okay, let me get another ring. You'll see right away what I mean. Okay, open and slide it through this ring that the Mobius rose catcher is on. Now we're not linking the 2 that hang from it. We're just putting them on there. Okay, these 2 are not joined together. They're just hanging from this one. Okay, hope you can see that well. Now we're going to put 1 single one after the 2, and then 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. That's our simple chain here. You can do a 2 by 1 like I'm showing you for time, or a 2 by 2. Same concept, and I'm sure you can figure out how to do 2 by 2. Instead of putting 1 in between the sets of 2, you put 2. That's simple. But a 2 by 1 is strong enough. So I have my 1. I'm going to add 2 to it, and then 1. So, oh, whoops. Open, slip it on, close, and then put another one through that single ring. Okay. All right. Is everyone finished their Mobius rose? Do you have any questions about it? Because if you have questions, I can answer. I know I went through it quickly. It's hard for me to do chainmail really slowly. That's why I try and do it a couple of times for you so that you can see it. Okay, so let me show you. I have the holder for the Mobius rose, this one right here. Then I have a single, a double, a single, and a double. Now I'm going to put another single, and I'm just going to keep repeating that pattern. Hopefully you have that pattern down now. I think that when it was in person, I'm trying to remember the problem that we had. There was a problem people were having that they didn't understand it. But I think everyone seems to have gotten it here. If you don't have it, just pop in and say so, because if you don't have it, probably somebody else doesn't have it. So let me know. Okay, and then 2 from that one. Now, if you want to work ahead of yourself, like if you want to do this ahead of time, are the single and double a smaller rings? Oh, yes, sorry. The single and double that I'm doing, the bracelet part, is the 532 rings, the small ones that you have. And again, all in 18 gauge. So I've used 3/8 for the large. The mediums are 732s, and the small are 532s. Okay, so I have 2 there. I'm going to add another one. So if you want to prep your rings first, you can close enough to do all the double part. And then when I put the single one on, I don't want to confuse you, but when I put a single one on, I would put 2 closed rings on. So 1 closed, 2 closed, and then close it. Okay? Just saves you a little bit of time if you want. Oops. I don't tend to prep my rings because I'm one of these pick it up once people. I figure if I'm picking it up and putting it down 3 and 4 times, I'm not saving myself any time. Now, if it's a really complicated pattern, I will lay out the ones, especially if it's multi-colors. I will lay out my rings in order of what's going on next so that I don't make a mistake. But that's the only time I really prep my rings. I know some people that open and close the rings right away when they buy them. It doesn't work for me because I never know what I'm going to use the rings for. Okay, and you just keep going. Now I will show you. This is how I buy my rings. What size are the Mobius rings? Mobius rings, and I will double check on my tray. Oh, I don't, there's a bag in here. Let me just see. It doesn't have a tag. I usually have my boxes marked, and this one isn't. But I believe it's my 3/4. So 3/4, 3/4, whatever, 18 gauge. Okay, let me pick up my piece again. All right, so you can see it's coming along nicely. I've got about an inch, a little bit more than an inch past the Mobius rose. The single holding the rose is the big one. It's the third size. The lock on the rose, we'll call it, is 7/32s. And then the chain is 5/32. So I buy my 5/32s by the pound, just because I go through so many of them. All right.
Can I show you mine?
Yes, let me flip to yours. It's very hard to see, but it looks right. How much is that the chain you've already done?
Yeah, I did 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. Yeah. 4 doubles. 4 doubles. The chunky part, the big.
Yeah, it's very hard to see. Let me just see if I can spotlight you for a moment. I'm trying to. Oh, there you are. No, it's not letting me because I'm not host. Can we spotlight?
Yes, Lori, I am spotlighting.
Oh, thank you.
Jega.
Can you see her now?
It's still pretty small. Move it towards the camera, please, Jega. Oh, that's better. It looks right, but it's very hard for me to tell on camera, but it looks like it's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't see anything
my question is, the chunky one, the big one, how many we had to do? You did 2.
Oh, just 1.
I have 2 too.
Okay, you can put them together. So
add one after the other. Okay, I'll do that. Like a pendant now. If it is 2, then it's a pendant, right?
No, you can. I have bracelets where it's the whole bracelet is the roses. Okay, so if you're adding a second one, like so, you have your locks on either side, and you have a ring between them. Okay. If you try and lock them this way, you'll have a really awkward feeling.
It won't stay side by side. Yeah, I'll do 2.
That's the
only. Very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Yeah, I did a class with Boomerang in person, and one gentleman there made a headband. He actually did Mobius roses for the whole bracelet size, and then a 2x2 chain, and he wore it as a headband. So you can do whatever you like. This is just a technique class, like I like to say, and make it your own afterwards. I have some that I've done. Oh, excuse me 1 second. I forgot to put do not disturb on. Luckily, nobody disturbed us. But I have ones I've done where the center Mobius rose is bright red, the outer ones are pink, and then it goes into green tones, and it looks like a little rose bush. Yeah, I have them. I do them in purples, different colors of purple, different shades of purple. Yeah. They're a lovely piece, and you can do the Mobius rose in any size ring. It's just the smaller it is, the harder it is, because you're trying to get all those rings into that little shape. Okay, so keep going with your bracelet part. we're halfway through the class. As long as everyone has the Mobius rows down, you're good. This bracelet part is just the tedious, doing rings. And I have to always remember if I'm doing one or two. I talk too much when I'm doing this. When I'm actually working on a piece for sale, I don't talk to anyone, I just work. So when I'm working teaching, I tend to lose track of which one I'm doing because I'm talking so much. But that's okay. I can always look. And if you make a mistake, you just take the ring out and fix it. That's what I love about chainmail rather than seed beads and beading. If I realize afterwards I made a mistake back here, I can take that little bit apart and put it back together. If I realize that when I'm finished the seed bead project, well, too bad. So, and my wire doesn't tangle on me like Fred does. I have tried taking my friend's classes for doing beading, and it just doesn't work for me. I'm not coordinated when it comes to thread, which is funny because I can make clothes, but not seed bead stuff. All right. But if you're looking at doing seed beads, my friend Pam is doing them online here. So watch for her classes as well. Okay. And in August, I can't believe August is coming up soon. In August, we're going to continue with Chainmail Thursdays. So there'll be a different project each Thursday, including Japanese 12 and 2, which is one of my favorite weaves, other than Byzantine. Byzantine was my all-time favorite. But Japanese 12 and 2, I don't do very much of it, but it's such a pretty little weave. It ends up looking like a daisy. And you can have like different colors for the petals and everything. So it's a cute little weave. We're going to make earrings. We're not going to attempt a bracelet because you'll probably only get through one earring in a class. It's that intricate, but it's easy to figure out. It's just following a pattern. So I will go over the pattern when I'm teaching it a few times, just talking to you, and you'll have the recording. But the first time I did a daisy on it, it took me like hours to get one done. And then the next day I finished off the whole bracelet in an hour. So the first one is always the longest and hardest one. But once you get it, it's easy. So let's keep going. I think I'm getting close to the end of mine. Got about 2 inches, maybe 2.5. And I want to do 3. I'm going to settle for 3 inches on either side because I'm not making it for me. I'll make it for my board. So I have a sample one again. And I do like this little Mobius rose. It came out cute, these colors. I guess my dark and light browns were mixed because I have a little bit of a color mix in there that I wasn't planning. I like doing them in class in the rainbow just so that it's easier to see. But personally, I like, dual tone in the roses. A little less flashy. All right, so this box that I have in front of me is 5 inches. So I just measure the chain. I have about 3.5. No, that can't be 3.5. No, it's not. It's about 3. Okay. Not sure where I went wrong with the other way, but so I'm going to keep going for just a couple more rings, and then I'm going to put on the lobster clasp. So once I'm ready to put on the lobster clasp, I will show you. There's no trick to it. It's very simple. And again, if you feel you want to do a 2x2 chain, go right ahead. So just on each one that you have one, put a second. Just king it. All right, so I'm going to finish this one and then put on my lobster clasp. Now, if you're making it for someone else, I would say make it 6.5 inches all total, 7 inches maybe, and add a little extender chain. That way they can clip it wherever they wish. All right, so I have a double at the end here. I'm going to get a single and my lobster clasp. So I open it up, put my last two on there, grab my clasp, and sorry, my hands are in the way. There's really tiny ring on this clasp. There we go. Drop the lobster clasp on that ring and then close it. Check it with your nail. That one's still open a tiny bit. Didn't hear it click. There we go. All right, and that's half of my bracelet. Okay, so then I would start on the other end of the Mobius rose and continue. Any questions? Okay, so we'll just keep going. So remember, we have our lock piece, our rose lock. We go through it with one ring. If you're having a hard time getting it through, say coming from this way, try it from the other way, because whatever way the rose is oriented, it'll make it easier to slide that ring through. Just a little trick. Did I catch it? Oh, sorry guys. Hold on. I dropped it. There it is. Okay, no cat under the table to take it away before I can get to it. All right, so let me just find my open ring and drop it somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to start on the other side of the bracelet, just like so. Close that single, and then I will put 2 on that one and start my chain. Okay, I better work directly over the table. The next time I drop it, it falls on the table. All right. So on Monday, we are doing, I believe, earrings, the earring class. And then next Thursday is the barrel weave. I keep forgetting that it's barrel weave next week. If you're interested in what I'm teaching in August, even though it's not up on Boomerang yet, I will have it up on my Facebook page by tonight. I'm going to work on them this afternoon. So I will have them all as events at Lori's Craft Classes. And if you say you're interested or you're attending on the event page, then you'll get notified when I post that the tickets are available. So I posted on the 2 that went up today that tickets are now available. So anyone that had already commented on those events on my page was notified that tickets are available. So it works well. I can put it up, you can save the date, and then when Boomerang has time to put it up, then you get to book it right away. It's like a save the date card for a wedding. Okay, and I'm just working away. If anyone wants to see another Mobius rose, I can stop this and show you. So let me know. We have lots of time. I had one woman call me the last time I taught this. She emailed me and I said, yeah, give me a call. I gave her my number. And I led her through over the phone on how to finish her Mobius rose because she had messed up a bit and needed help. So if I can explain it over the phone, I think we could figure it out if you have a problem. And of course, I'm sitting there on the couch showing with my hands, you know, you twist it this way while I'm just talking. Because, you know, in my head, I'm visualizing what I'm doing, and yeah, it still works. Make sure you grab 2 every time when there's a double. I just went through 1 instead of 2. Caught myself in time. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull myself in. I feel like I'm way away from the table today. All right, so I was working all day yesterday on some new classes that I'm working on. So I'm not sure how long Boomerang's planning on doing online classes. I happen to love it because, yes, my email address, and they do send it out to you, I believe, is just Lori Poirier, no spaces, no dot, at hotmail.com. So, yes, so, and it's also listed on my Facebook page of Lori's Craft Classes and Lori's Crafty Creation. But yes, so I'm working on some new projects, new classes, just playing with wire and trying to get some ideas for new classes. I have a large repertoire now of different classes, but I still like to keep it fresh and come up with new ideas. So that's what I was doing yesterday. I was having a tea visit with some beading friends on Zoom, and I was working away with my laptop. Half the time I was looking at a Word document while I was talking to them, but my husband is foraging. He came by and grabbed an orange out of the fruit bowl. Okay, so I'm going along. What else is new? Oh, if you go on my Facebook page and you see something that you would like to learn how to do, either at the Crafty Creations or craft classes, shoot me an email or a message on Facebook. Let me know, and I will let you know if we can do it at the class here. It wouldn't be for a little while because I've already scheduled all of August, but yeah, we can work on something. There might be a few that I can't do online, just because it's a little more difficult to teach. Like Byzantine, I taught online and I was ready to cry afterwards. I just felt like it was just a horrible mess because people couldn't see the rings well enough on screen. And it's more of an intricate class. So I won't teach Byzantine online again. That's just it. So most of the things that I make for sale, I will teach. The only one I don't teach is the resin classes. I'm planning on doing one, but it'll have to wait until it's in my home studio. Because resin, it would be a very boring class to watch because it's watching stuff dry. So that's the main part of doing a resin class. It's sort of a two-parter. You come in to the studio or a Boomerang location even, and you make a piece and then you come back to pick it up later, another day. So it's not one that we can do online. But other than the resin, I think pretty much anything on there can be taught online. And now that all the bead stores have pretty much opened up again, you can get all your supplies in. So just as a reminder, if you are in Toronto or the Toronto area, we have right now where you can shop by appointment are Bead Dynasty, Bead FX, and Stones and Findings downtown. Those you can shop by appointment only, or still do curbside pickup. Then there is Butterfly Beads and John Bead are open to the public, but they are only letting in so many people at a time. So I wouldn't go on a really hot day or a rainy day because you never know how long you're going to have to wait outside in line. Butterfly is still doing online orders as well. John Bead Outlet doesn't do online. So there are your options. If you're outside of Toronto, Newmarket has that bead lady, and she does online and curbside. I don't know if she's open for business yet for shopping. Sorry, I didn't check that out. She's out of my personal range here. And up in Barrie, My Bead is open for, I'm not sure if they're doing appointments, they're just walk-in. And then to the west, Cambridge, Iguana Bead are open. So those are the main ones that I know. If there's also a few like Fashion Outlet up in, I think, Woodbridge. There's a couple in Cambridge, something, My BDI or something. I've been there, but I can't remember the name. I don't have them. I'm not on their mailing list, so I don't know what they're doing. But the others that I mentioned, I am on mailing lists for or on Facebook with. So it's nice to know what our options are again. And Bead Effects is having their afternoon tea again. It's not on Thursdays though, it's on Wednesdays. We're doing it virtually. So, you know, we join together and we just sit and chat and work on whatever we're working on. And it's all free. So if you want to get together with other beaders and work on your project, there's no instruction. It's just a group where we meet and have a little bit of fun. Really nice group of people. So you can join them, check out Bead Effects. Okay, so this is coming along well. It's almost done. Let's see how close it is. Oops, I'm maybe 1.5 inches off. So if you get to the end and you realize that uneven, that you want it more centered, just take your lobster clasp back off and continue that side a bit more. Keep dropping rings. It's easy. Okay. Any questions? And so I hope you're all enjoying the idea of Chainmail Thursdays. I really love teaching chainmail, and so it's one of my favorite things. And I like the idea of knowing that I'm teaching a chainmail class on Thursdays now. People were asking for more chainmail, and so I thought, well, how many beginner classes can I come up with? And the captured ball chainmail, it does not look like a beginner class, but it's so easy. I've actually taught it to a group of seniors, and one of the seniors asked me if she could borrow a pair of pliers and a bunch of rings, and I lent them to her for a couple of weeks, and she was just going like crazy with chainmail. She ended up buying her own supplies. She was 94 and got into chainmail for the first time. So it's for everyone. At least she didn't have arthritis. You know, it would have made it more difficult. But yeah, I just find that chainmail just sort of goes beyond the age. You know, I've taught kids, I've taught seniors, and everybody seems to really like it. And when you throw in the fact that it's all weaves from ancient times where they used them as protection, it gets the guys interested in it. Byzantine was a British one, I believe. Japanese 12-1 was the armor they used in Japan at the time. 12-2, sorry. European 4-1 was the main one that you see in the movies where it's just draped over. That one's just a really, really simple one to do. And you can whip up actual clothes in it. I have online friends that have made beautiful pieces of clothing out of chainmail. But have to see if the headphones are on over there. I'm trying to work on a Star Trek inlay. So it's a piece about yay big, a square, and it has the insignia. So a Christmas gift. But I can't do it here. So there we are. It's almost done. So right now I have about half and half. So let's see. You know what? It's going to be about a 1/2 inch difference on one side. So I'm not going to worry about taking the lobster clasp off and fixing that little bit, because it would be like 2 rings, and I'm not that fussy about it. If a customer were to buy it and say, oh, it's lopsided, can you fix it? It would take me 2 seconds. But I don't think anyone's going to notice. All right, so a couple more rings here and then I'm finished. I hope you are able to do this easily. The hard part was the Mobius rose, as you can see. And I think I've done it enough times that I was able to make it a little easier. It was the very first chainmail piece I ever learned, but it was a 3-piece rose. I took a class that, what was that show that was on? The fiber art show and jewelry show. I can't remember that. Oh, Creative Festival. So I went to Creative Festival with a friend of mine who does a lot of knitting and crocheting. And there was somebody doing chainmail. Happens to be the owner of Hyperlink, the manufacturer. And so I took Michelle's make and take for $5, and I made a pair of earrings and they're little snowmen. And I was hooked, and that was that. From that point on, I just had to learn everything I could about chainmail. Okay, so I'm finished. I'm going to finish off with just about 6 rings of 1 by 1 as a little extender chain. And this ring is a little, I could feel that it was a little weakened, so I don't want to use it. I just want to take that one off. If you feel like it's just like popped a little bit and you can feel it weakening, just take it out. You don't want to break it, not after all the work you've done. You don't want to lose your bracelet because one ring wasn't perfect. And you'll learn to feel the feel of it, like it just, whoop, caught it. When you're doing it, you'll feel like it's bending too easily when it comes back from the opening. When you're closing it and it bends too easily, there's a weakness in it. And just skip that ring. Sometimes if I've been doing harder metal and I go back to softer metal like this, I will bend them too much and break them because I'm used to the heavier metal. When I was on a bowling league and I would chainmail in between sets, and I was doing stainless steel dog collars. So the rings are really, really heavy, 12 gauge. So about 3 or 4 times the thickness of this in stainless steel. And I was just using every ounce of muscle to do it. And then I got up to bowl and I almost threw the ball down the aisle. I huffed it so hard. So I had to be careful what I did after that. You know, I didn't want to do any heavy duty chainmail while I was bowling. All right, so we have about 10 minutes. Any questions? And it doesn't have to be about this project. It can be about anything at all, jewelry related. So please help me out. Give me some questions. You're all so quiet today. You'd think it was a Monday. Okay, and there's my final ring. All right, if I have a scrap piece of metal around, I will show you the trick. I don't know what my hands are doing today. I'm dropping everything. Let me put my rings away, because I don't like leaving them out. My cat will steal them. I think he's part dragon, like shiny things. All right, let me just lift up the cover here and see if I have a scrap piece of wire handy. And I don't. I tidied up too much. Oh, I see one, but I can't get it. There we go. Okay. So we're going to pretend that this is a paper clip, the large size one. And you just open it up a bit. So you form a J and you hold it like so. Okay. You put the open ring without the lobster clasp on it. Okay. And then you can reach your bracelet around and clip it. So you don't have to have somebody help you with your bracelet. They sell these at stores for $20, a little handheld piece. And you just saved yourself $20 because you can do it with a paper clip. All right.